short dressage test. This is the new version, or was the old CIC 1-star. So he came down the center line pretty straight. He was a smidge distracted in this test because what you can't see is the warm-up ring, which is right next to us, which had a lot of horses splashing around. But come through the corner, asking him for the medium trot. This has gotten a lot better. It's still a little bit hurried, still need to develop a little bit more suspension, but it's getting there. So coming down the center line, have to make sure I kind of keep him straight because he's anticipating the leg yield just a little bit. And then he was good through his body, but he was a smidge crooked and got a little unsteady in the bridle, so I lost a little bit of points there. And come back down the center line again. This time I tried to give myself a little bit more time and then really pressed him over for the leg yield. He is getting a lot stronger. And so now make sure I get into my corners. And the next movement we have is a stretching a Serpentine, which he didn't stretch as far as I would have liked him to. He can go, he'll take his nose all the way down, but that's where you can see he's just a little tight. But the tempo stays the same, and he opens up his neck a little bit, but I could have gotten some more points in there. And then here, he got a smidge nervous because I think he felt my tails kind of give him a little tap. But he figured it out pretty quickly since it's his first time with me riding in my tails. Now we are in our medium walk. He has a very good walk. He's very active and he oversteps from where his front foot lands. So now we're in our extended walk. And you really want to see the nose and the neck stretch out while he's staying on the contact and the walk is staying really active and swinging. And come back to our working walk, or medium walk, I'm sorry. Then back up to the trot. And for a canter transition, he was just a little resistance, I would say. He kind of came a smidge above the bit into our medium canter. Did a good job. Those his gaits will steadily improve as he becomes more seasoned, but he is putting in a nice solid test. Now we're going into our counter canter, and again he gets just a little tight on me right here, so I have to make sure I push him forward so I don't lose the counter canter. And then he comes off the track just a little bit there, but it is quite muddy. Making sure I get him deep into my corner to prepare for the next canter transition, which was much smoother. And going on for the canter medium. I want to make sure that I can show a difference and that my horse is straight. He tossed his haunches in a little bit. And then we do our 12-meter half circle, so you're going to see that's why we kind of go past the center line a little bit. And into our final counter canter on the 20-meter. Just a little weak. He's pretty strong with those, but again, he was a little distracted. But he was fairly obedient, and I was really happy with how consistent his test was. Put in a very solid effort, and we scored 33.9, which put us kind of in the middle of a really big division. So moving on to cross country, you'll be able to see the combination that's on the left is R3AB, which is where Sharpie and I had a little bit of an interesting moment, but he kind of learned from it, which is kind of what you want early on in the course. So here, we're a little far out in the zoom, but this is right after that combination. And I had another angled line, so I kind of made sure I didn't angle it too much. And he jumped it really good and was listening. So it made me feel a little bit better. And that can sometimes happen with horses in the beginning of the course. They get a little distracted and then they get focused. But coming down to this coffin, we had the rails to the ditch, which was in a 2, and he did it in fact in 1.5. But he's so clever and quick. He seemed to really be enjoying the terrain. Kind of the hills really helped his balance, as well as a little bit bigger atmosphere. And the jumps were also, since it was a CCI 2-star / old CCI 1-star, they're a little bit bigger. Now coming to, this is our final water combination. So we had 2 corners, fairly accurate, an accuracy question. And he did that really well, and I could only find kind of a long distance to the second corner, and he's very honest for me. And here you'll be able to see it in a different angle. So coming in, I jump the big table, and I have to make sure that I have my line straight for a corner. He nails that, and then have him balanced. And I saw the bit of the gap, but he held his line and was super. We ended up jumping double clear, and I was so proud of him. Such a good boy.
Are you gonna do it? What are you doing, Rubo? What are you doing? What are you doing? You're being silly. You're being silly. You're so silly.
So for show jump day, we in fact had a jog inspection where the ground jury and the vets make sure the horses are sound to continue. And so Sharpie was feeling great. He recovered really well. He was feeling very fresh and was a very good boy for his jog up. So for our show jumping round, I wanted to make sure I could get him over by that tent, kind of make sure he kind of was able to see it, because this is the most atmosphere he's experienced. But Sharpie, being the professional that he is, he handled it right in stride. So I want to make sure with him that I keep him in a nice soft shape. Coming to the fence, now he kind of hesitated a little bit on our first fence, but still jumped it clean. So then I made sure I kept my leg on at the base, really jumped well over the oxer. Now this was a bending 7, and I chose to do the 8 to just keep him together, because if you catch too many of the distances that are long, he gets flat and kind of strung out. So coming to this triple, does a good job of maintaining focus next to the tent. Sometimes young horses get distracted. And again, I'm always trying to keep him in a nice package so he has the power and the shape to keep over the fence. Does a great job over the Liverpool. And it's actually been quite helpful moving him up to the prelim level. He respects the bigger fences better and has show jumped a lot better since. Now coming down this line, he jumped that one a little awkward, but then he jumps this in and out lovely. And I'm trying to keep my composure for the last fence. I see it's a little gappy, and we just catch the last rail. But overall, super pleased with us finishing 23rd out of 65 horses.